Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Gavel, featuring attorney Ana Toledo. Ms. Toledo is the senior attorney and general counsel to Targeted Justice. She has a background in constitutional and environmental law and is an experienced litigator, including 2 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's Ms. Toledo.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 50. Oh my God, 50 episodes of The Gavel, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the most recent news regarding our fight for the end of government weaponization, as well as my mission for freedom here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Ana Toledo, an attorney with over 30 years' experience litigating First Amendment, civil rights, and environmental law cases in Puerto Rico. Precisely the reason why I became a member of this beloved community and beloved and treasured community. Today is Friday, March 1st, and this podcast constitutes a record, a historic record where you are a participant of the fight to end government weaponization and modern-day slavery happening not only in America, not only to men, women, grandmothers, children, pets, but also to civilians around the world. All of it perpetrated by the government criminals in the freest government in the world, United States of America. My goal is to expose the illegal program that has been unleashed against average Americans and innocent civilians around the world. An essential step in setting us all free, not just us, but generations to come. As you know, when this program is no longer covert, which it no longer is because it's everywhere in social media, it can no longer operate. And I know its end is near. This week, the exposure continues at unprecedented levels. And even though you might think some news are bad, no, you just have to turn them around because there are good things happening. So brace yourselves for an information-packed show. But before anything happens, I need to read a verse from Psalm 26, a little verse, a little part of it, just to shower this space with the divine presence of God, because as you know, it is the only way to fight the criminals that are relentlessly trying to censor us and shut us down. So here it goes. Let me put it here for you too. Here it goes. It says, "Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have also trusted in the Lord. I shall not slip. Examine me, O Lord, and approve me. Try my mind and my heart, for your loving kindness is before my eyes. And I have walked in your truth. I have not sat with the idolatrous mortals, nor will I go in with hypocrites. I have hated the assembly of evildoers, and will not sit with the wicked. We continue to stand on firm ground as long as we stick to our dignity and honesty. No weapon shall prosper against us. We have been courageous warriors that have not succumbed to evil. And we will give testimony on not only how hard it was to survive and overcome so much hardship and torture, but also on what it was that inspired us to fight this fight, not just for us, but for humanity. So before I go any further, please help me defeat censorship and like, share, and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Remember, this is the only podcast that is dedicated to you, to the victims of government weaponization. So please help us spread the word everywhere. So for those of you that did not get to read this week's Targeted Justice newsletter, I'm going to bring you the awesome video that our courageous and talented Sean prepared for us this week. Many people complain about not being able to find a job, not being able, it's everything is rigged, but we beg to differ. And so here it is.
If you're a TI looking for a job, we recommend to concentrate on smaller companies. The medium-sized and larger companies will use a background check. You will be identified as a suspected terrorist because your name has been placed on the terrorist screening database. Utilize small boutique headhunters that focus on small companies. Don't use email because the criminals will block it. Walk in ready for an interview and leave your resume with them. Use grok.com to provide a list of 20 small companies in your zip code who may be looking for your expertise. Analog is the best way to beat these digital criminals.
So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it, you're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're gonna kill you. Don't do it. They're gonna kill you. I have like multiple of these whispers in my ears. I can't even describe it. It's crazy.
Congressman Burleson has stated that Amy Eskridge was a victim of government weaponization and was murdered. She suffered from gang stalking, directed energy weapons, and Havana syndrome. She was apparently working to expose anti-gravity technology, just like her father, who also worked for NASA. Many scientists have been dying recently. Their deaths seem to be connected to the anti-gravity technology, plasma research, and related technologies.
Bill Wood is a former Navy SEAL who became an expert at the Pentagon on timelines and probabilities. Bill was interviewed by one of the members of Targeted Justice's advisory board, Kerry Cassidy. Listen to Bill as he described how the deep state used him to analyze timelines from Project Looking Glass, without giving him all of the information. His conclusion was, the timelines are converging to a narrow set of probabilities that will destroy the deep state. There's nothing the deep state can do to manipulate the timelines for any significant effect. They have known this for 30 years. You don't need to agree with this analysis. But keep in mind, this is how the deep state thinks. This is how they make decisions.
Calling all digital warriors. Repost, share, and like this video on every social media site that's out there. We always looking for some awesome people willing to volunteer their time. Let us know what special skills and unique talents you possess by shooting us an email to tjustice2@proton.me. In the subject line, tag volunteer. Looking for more targeted justice content? We have several channels online, 100% free, on rumble.com. Appreciate what we do? We are accepting donations and they're all tax deductible. You can either hit this link to do a quick submission of payment or send us a check to the following mailing address. We are a nonprofit organization. We have several different items at our store, ranging from clothes, cups, and merchandise. Either get something for yourself or buy a nicer gift for that special someone by hitting this link.
Thanks for taking your time to watch this video. And God bless, and God bless, and God bless, and God bless.
And God bless our dear Sean. When I discovered I was targeted, I just want to comment on a couple of things of that video that I think is so important. There wasn't a centralized place where I could see videos of what was going on with me. And so we have the videos we have curated in the Real Targeted Justice channel in Rumble are, we have made sure that they don't contain misinformation, fear mongering, or anything that would not be beneficial, particularly for new TIs or when you want to tell somebody about the program. Well, we have the symposiums there, the medical doctors one, the legal one. And I really urge you to check out the content because it has the translations of the cognitive liberty documentary by Dominic Halpin, who in May is going to be releasing his new documentary. So you have to be on the lookout for that. And another thing is that and this is on my own, I really ask for you to cover the Lighthouse in prayer, because aside from being a warrior aside from having reversed engineered the program and discovered how it operates, and aside from fighting relentlessly to shut down this criminal program, he's also a scientist. And I personally ask that you include him in your prayers too, because the criminals seem to be out of control. So now buckle up for this week's unstoppable avalanche of truth. Even though the news seemed bleak, for example, DHS got funded again, so we're going to have gang stalking galore again. The FISA warrant, the requirement was not imposed, and a 45-day extension was granted. Palantir information is everywhere, and surveillance is everywhere. But I want you to reframe it into a positive thing, and which just keep this in mind as I go through this week's news, and it's the following. All of these news regarding the surveillance is getting to the normies. Our program of constant surveillance and mass formation is being rolled out to the population, and people are not liking it. And that's when you see that people in Congress and in the Senate all of a sudden are starting to care. Well, some maybe cared a little while ago, but most of them, the ones that are showing interest in the Fourth Amendment and constitutional and civil protections, is because they realize that their constituents are demanding that they do something about it. Before, we were the minority. Now everybody's fighting for privacy, and everybody is fighting against this mass surveillance. So what seems to be horrible, I think it's going to turn out to be really great for us, because that's when things are going to be uncovered. So this week, for example, we have the fight for 702. And for those of you that know exactly to the T everything that happened, please excuse me, but there's a lot of other people that don't know about it. So I'm going to go a little bit over what happened this week. But the most important thing you need to keep in your mind is the following. This is no time to stop. I think that you should all pat yourselves in the back. My kudos to Betsy, who wrote emails to everybody, getting you active to write to your people in Congress and in the Senate. Okay? So this is what happened. First of all, there was a lot of activism on the part of the people in Congress. Okay, for example, let me just show you this one. This one, like people that I had never heard from before, all of a sudden are like going all over the place.
But the FBI has abused 702, and that's why we are here today. I want to reiterate my colleagues' comments about we are really dealing with two surveillance bills here today. Now, 702 is getting all the attention, but the central bank digital currency is another surveillance tool that we sent to the Senate. We passed it in a bipartisan method.
So we know that Ana Toledo wanted a clean FISA renewal. We also know that Jim Jordan flipped on the FISA renewal, just like many of them, have flipped on it. And now, hold on, let me show you. I'm sorry, because it disappeared from here. So what Mike Johnson did, and I just have to show you this. I have to show you this. This Mike Johnson photograph because it depicts him as he is the horrible person I think he is. There it is. He tried to use the crypto catnip. This is a quote from The Intercept. So what he did is to convince the Republicans that had voted against a clean FISA renewal, he added onto it a prohibition for digital currency, which many people feel very strongly about. So what happened was that the ones that had voted against it then voted for it. Then our hero here, Thomas Massie, came in and stated the obvious, right? Here it is.
And what does FISA stand for? Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. This, when it was originated, was never meant to be used to surveil Americans or to search through databases for their information. It was intended for foreign intelligence.
And that's the truth. And nobody is asking, which is something that I am saying all the time. FISA 702 has not stopped a single act of terrorism, at least not the searches of Americans. So we have to give the kudos. Watch for these names. The people that were courageous, the Republicans that were courageous and voted against the mandate of President Trump were Chip Roy, Warren Davidson, Keith Self, who joined Thomas Massie and made strong cases as to why Congress must add the warrant requirements to FISA 702, and why a central bank digital currency must be banned, and how both are powerful tools of control and surveillance and violation of your privacy and liberties. Yeah, because if the government decides that you cannot buy whatever hat you want to buy, they will shut down your money. That's a silly example. But you, as a targeted person, you know how detrimental, horrible, and tragic it would be for them to approve the digital currency. Even Jamie Raskin, who is a Democrat, gave compelling arguments as to why bipartisanship is needed in the House to make reforms to FISA 702. Yet, after doing so, he voted yes to a clean 45-day extension of FISA without warrant requirements. However, there were 20 Republicans who were courageous and opposed the procedural vote earlier. Earlier this month, they changed their position. Okay. Now, out of 111 Republicans, only 26 were courageous to vote no. And so I have the list here. Obviously, Boebert, Biggs, Bigig, Brecheen, Burchett, our favorite, Kamak, Cloud, Collins. I'm surprised that Susan these are representatives. Collins, Crane, our favorite, Eli Crane, Davidson, Downing, Fry, Fulcher, Gosar, Hageman, whom I really like, Harshbarger, Higgins, Kennedy, Luttrell, Massey, Miller, Ogles, Perry, Roy, Self, and Tiffany. In there, we don't have Nancy Mace and we don't have Ana Paulina Luna. We have to write to them and let them know that they are in the wrong side of history on this issue, because they usually are on the right side of history. The measure was dead on arrival in the Senate because they would not agree to do anything without. There's very powerful senators, aside from Ron Paul and Wyden and Mike Lee, that they don't want to approve anything without the warrant requirement. Okay, so a longtime privacy champion, Ron Wyden from Oregon, told The Intercept that versions of the reauthorization on the table, the clean exemption, the 3-year clean exemption, was going nowhere. It was offered by the deep state Senator Tom Cotton. Let me make a parenthesis here. Tom Cotton chairs the Senate Select Intelligence Committee that is the one that followed the Church Committee. He is supposed to be investigating the CIA criminals. He has refused, he and everybody in his office have refused to meet with me. And that is the one that was pushing for the 3-year clean. So those of you in Arkansas, you better help vote him out of office. Get active. I am learning the only way we are going to get things done is for you to get active in politics and demand change. Go against their adversaries, talk to them and say, this is what's happening here. This is what they're doing wrong. If you commit to helping me, I commit to helping you. We have to put our money where our mouth is and start going volunteering and doing work to get these criminals out of office. I'm sorry. And when I say criminal, I don't take it lightly, because when you're covering up for the crimes of the intelligence community, that makes you, that you're colluding with crimes. I don't take that lightly. When you see something illegal happening, he has the obligation, the legal oath of office, the obligation as chair of the Senate Select Intelligence Committee to investigate, just as courageous Frank Church exposed MK Ultra. For Tom Cotton. Now, the House passed a 45-day. The House was going to pass a 45-day extension by voice without voting, but Thomas Massie courageously forced a debate and demanded a recorded vote. He wanted to say who is who. Let me show you what Massie did. He's so good.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to this clean reauthorization of FISA, and in particular to this short-term reauthorization of FISA. A short-term infringement of the Constitution is still an infringement of the Constitution. How long has the Senate had to act on this? Is this an emergency? Is this something we haven't known about? No, I appreciate the work of my dear colleague and chairman of our committee, Mr. Jordan, on this issue for so many years, of trying to get warrants before Americans are spied upon. And in fact, my colleague Zoe Lofgren and I, on the other side of the aisle, over a decade ago, were successful in passing an amendment to FISA during the appropriations process that would have prohibited funds to be used to use the FISA program without a warrant.
And then the truth of the matter is that it doesn't really matter, the 45-day extension, because there is a FISA court opinion saying that for the next year or two, I think it's going to continue operating on a grandfather clause. However, unless major reform is passed, that's why this 45 days are supposed to be for, to reach a consensus. Well, it's going to continue operating. And as some, we found out today, Congress is going for 2 weeks vacation now. So it's not like they're going to be working on it. But my message to you is this. This is no time to stop your activism. It has become more crucial now. If you sent your letter or your message through their website, and they either, whether they paid attention or did not pay attention, you say, if they voted for the renewal, you write to them and let them know you're very disappointed. You let them know you're watching what they're doing and that you're very disappointed at their betrayal of the Fourth Amendment, and that now that they have a second chance to fight for the rights of his or her constituents, you are hoping that they do the right thing. Now, if your congressman or woman is like Massie or Boebert, you write to thank them and tell them, please continue fighting for us and for our civil liberties. This is no time to stop. They need to understand that you are a power to be reckoned with in the ballot, okay? And that you are going to bring you and your entire family to either vote for or against them. It's the only language they understand. Now, our ally, Lauren Boebert, I like her so much. And for those of you that haven't been to her office, it's so nice to go there because she has this little dog. Her little dog comes to the office, the most precious and friendly dog. It's beautiful. And she denounced what many people didn't know that was happening, which is the flock camera abuse.
They're scanning our faces in public places, at protests, even at our children's schools. The government is building secret databases they can go through anytime that they feel like it. They're blanketing our neighborhoods with flock cameras. And every single one of you should be saying, what the flock?
And that's the truth. Everybody should be saying that. And okay, so here's what she did. She co-introduced with Thomas Massie the Surveillance Accountability Act to require federal and local agencies to get a warrant based on probable cause before using surveillance tools like automated license plate readers, and explicitly mentions for flock cameras, facial recognition, commercially bought location data. In a press conference, she said, they are blanketing our neighborhoods with flock cameras, and every single one of you should be saying what the flock. This is an absolute egregious reach on our Fourth Amendment rights. They're creating a digital footprint of your entire life. Sounds familiar, right? We're already used to it, but it doesn't mean that we accept it or that we agree to it. So Lauren Boebert, she's a hero. She's courageous, and we need to continue supporting her, and kudos to her, really. Now, this week, another thing that came to the light, which has to do with everything about us, is that the kill switch came. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not the kill switch. Here it is, the kill switch. Here it is. It came out in the public that it had been approved by Congress. This law is already on the books. Automobile kill switches are coming soon to a dealership near you. The reason why the controversy arose right now is because Thomas Massie teamed up with Scott Perry and Chip Roy to defund this Orwellian mandate. The law was already passed, but too many colleagues, Republican and Democrat, voted against Thomas Massie's law. So the federal mandate is still in place. This is another one that we have to get active on. Unless you do like me, which I own a 2004 car, and I absolutely love it because it has no Bluetooth and no Wi-Fi, and I recommend it to absolutely every TI to have a car that doesn't have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, because they are easier to hack. And absolutely no Teslas, because I know of 2 people that have their Teslas hacked by the criminals. So this U.S. federal mandate is for advanced impaired driving prevention technology. It's not literally a remote control switch that there's going to be, supposedly, right? That there's going to be people there in a switchboard watching you and determining if they're going to shut it down. No, it's that the car is going to monitor you. It's going to be the robot. It's going to be your babysitter, your own car. And it'll just say, no, I'm not going anywhere because you look like your pupils are dilated. And I think that you've had too much to drink or whatever. So it comes from section 24220 of the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is called the HUD Drunk Driving Act. It requires that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration create a safety standard for all new passenger vehicles. The goal is to passively detect driver impairment, especially alcohol, and prevent or limit vehicle operation to reduce drunk driving deaths. Supposedly, the decision will be made by the car itself. But as you and I know, these cars, once they have these remote capabilities, the dealership and anybody remotely can hack it and do anything to it. They can accelerate it and you won't be able to stop it. And, but that's already being done with modern cars. So anyways, I think that this is the fact that it has been exposed, people are irate about it. And I think that something will come out of it. That's the good part, that once it's being brought to the attention of people, because, for example, if this car is hacked, such as, like I told you, 2 persons that have had their Teslas hacked, a hacker could potentially trigger false disables and make you stranded, bypass or disable the safety feature, gain broader vehicle control. And, I don't even want to start into the legal repercussions if they could use that evidence against you. I I just think it's a dangerous thing, and it should not prosper. However, the law itself was passed, and right now it's in the stage of the creation of the federal safety standard requiring this advanced impaired driving prevention technology in new passenger vehicles. So the rulemaking has been delayed and it missed its November 2024 deadline. So since the rulemaking has been delayed, I don't think that they're not going to be required to have it as of 2026, which was the mandate. Anyways, so now for all of you that I've seen in the comments mentioning, yes, Ana Paulina Luna announced that she is going to be holding hearings on MK Ultra. Well, let's give her the opportunity to demonstrate if she has her heart in the right place, because, as I told you a little while ago, she was pushing for a clean renewal of FISA. That doesn't sound to me like somebody who is into eliminating government weaponization. So she announced a hearing on May 13th. However, right before this podcast, I checked the calendar for the oversight committee, and I don't know if the criminals are blocking me, but I didn't see anything posted, nor for the secrets committee, nor for the oversight. So I'd love to know who the witnesses are going to be, because if they're going to put their deep state former CIA saying how, oh yeah, when we found out we finished it. Yeah, right. No, that's not going to happen. So I do want to let you know that there are some good people, some really good people. These are the Republicans in the committee of the government secrets. And I can't decide which I like most. Probably Burchett, Boebert, well, all of them. Eli Crane, Brandon Gill, they're all amazing. So if these are your representatives, please make sure to write to them a very coherent, intelligent, don't go off the deep end letter, because I think that that's going to be really helpful. But in this context, the great news, and this is something that totally made my heart swell like the Grinch's heart, three sizes more, because our community is organizing. It's joining forces, and a united community cannot be stopped. So TI Help Group is organizing a letter. Here it is. That it's an urgent call to action. It's a golden opportunity. It's a letter that is going to be sent to Ana Paulina Luna, requesting that both Derek and me be asked to testify in their MK Ultra hearings. And so what do you have to do? Well, first of all, there's no time to spare. Tonight, I'm going to post it. Let me post it here. So you send your request, you email them, and in the subject line, you say, add me, add my signature, just digital, to the MK Ultra letter and support the public awareness. Go to her X account and post this flyer in there, okay? Your signature represents your voice and support to take back our freedom, which is vital for this shared effort. I am honored that TI Help included me in this, because, you know, the more we join and do things together, the more powerful we become. And the criminals have been very adept at dividing and conquer. You know, every time they slander us, that's exactly what it is, divide and conquer. Well, when you don't fall prey to it, we are unstoppable. And so the letter is ready to be sent to Representative Luna's office for Derek and myself to testify in the upcoming hearing. And that is tentatively set for May 13. The letter, if you want to read it before committing to it, it'll be read on PAC's call this Saturday, tomorrow. It is awaiting your signature. The goal is to have at least 500 signatures. We can certainly do that. So please help spread awareness about this. Hand out the flyer, print out this flyer and hand it out. Okay, share it on all your social media accounts. Now I'm going to copy here what you need to do, which is pretty simple. And here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you just copy and paste and you have no excuse, because that's what I've been doing also with my Mira, and Targeted Justice has been doing it with the newsletters regarding FISA 702. So there you have it. Please write. Don't wait. Just do it. Let me see if the entire message went in there. I think so, right? Here in the email, it's TI help here. I'm going to copy it again just in case the criminals are busy blocking it. I'm really honored, and I think that this is an amazing opportunity, because if Ana Paulina Luna thinks she's only going to talk about what happened in the 50s, she's wrong. We're going to make her understand that MK Ultra never stopped and has stolen the lives of so many people, and that the CIA criminals in Denver need to be stopped. It is illegal for the CIA to have domestic operations. That is included in one executive order. I didn't invent that. Even Stephen Miller, I have played for you that clip. Anyway, so I think this is really great, and let's just persuade Representative Luna to do the right thing, and not just because nobody cares. I mean, yeah, the past is the past, but what we want is what's happening now that needs to stop. We need to stop the torture that, as many of you know, the intelligence community reports on Havana syndrome have been suppressed because they don't want to recognize there's a pink elephant in the living room that is called the CIA, that has been doing bad things to people. So again, thanks again for all of you, Lynn, and all of you doing this. This is a really awesome effort, and I am deeply grateful to you, and I'm all in for it. Anyways, and on another news, there is a great report about that the DOJ released, that the Southern poverty, the darkness continues to be exposed. As it turns out, the Southern Poverty Law Center was the one that motivated the DOJ to classify Christians as domestic extremists. And the DOJ has put out a report about it, which, if you're interested in reading it, here's the link to it, because it's horrific. Since when Christians are domestic extremists? There you have it. So DOJ just released a report confirming the Senate Judiciary Committee's findings that the Biden administration routinely weaponized the federal government against Christians at the behest of the Southern Poverty Law Center. The policies regularly clash with Christian worldview and burden traditional religious practices. These conflicts frequently arose over abortion, gender ideology, and sexual orientation. Ultimately, the Biden administration penalized Christians who lived in accordance to their beliefs. I put in there the link for the report. You should, I really urge you to read it, because in due time, you're going to be one of the spokespersons talking about the atrocities perpetrated against law-abiding Americans and people around the world. And you need to familiarize yourself with the language of the weaponization. So one of the key findings was that DOJ pursued aggressive prosecutions against nonviolent pro-life Christian demonstrators under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which they were using their First Amendment rights, right? They were exerting them, but responded less aggressively to violent attacks against pregnancy resource centers. Key finding, too, is that the Biden Federal Bureau of Investigation investigated monitored, tracked, and scrutinized traditional Catholics who had engaged in no criminal misconduct. And here I have to say, right, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is composed of people. How come those criminals are still working at the FBI? Because that has been denounced by all the whistleblowers, the FBI whistleblowers. Yeah, they're doing, a pat in the hand, but they're still working there. They need to be fired. All of those criminals fired, gone. Otherwise, it's going to continue. So the judiciary's investigation found that the FBI agents believed that they were at the behest of the Southern Poverty Law Center. One FBI agent went so far as to say that the FBI over-reliance on the SPLC hate designations is problematic. And I want to know why they haven't filed charges against people precisely for going against Christians, because these are crimes. So the report confirms that the Southern Poverty Law Center was a major source for the FBI targeting of radical traditional Catholics. And then the Internal Revenue Service, those guys, right? Investigated churches because of what their pastors preach and Christian organizations because they applied biblical teachings to daily life. So Todd Blanche says that they are going to do something about it. My mom used to say, my mom used to quote the Bible all the time. And she said, I am like St. Thomas. I have to see to believe. So let's see if he's going to do something about it, because one thing is to put out the report on the information, and another is to prosecute those crimes. Let's just hope. Now, while Todd Blanche is saying he's going to protect Christians from targeting, there is another private organization that is targeting Americans. The Anti-Defamation League CEO casually admitted on camera that they run a 24/7 surveillance operation on American citizens and handed dossiers to the FBI. And let me just play you that video, because I don't want you to take my word on it. I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth.
So number one, we measure and track. Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games, cryptocurrency, podcasts, short form video, Wikipedia, LLMs. We monitor these people and we share the intelligence with the FBI.
So extremist could be anybody saying that they don't agree with the Iran war. That would be an extremist for this man. So just, you are warned. Now, this is, I know that many of you know about this. You all know about this, but I needed to repeat it. And it's stay away. Stay away from these. Apple's shocking patent, its new patent, has been exposed. AirPods that can read your thoughts and monitor your brain in real time. Apple has filed a patent for revolutionary earbuds loaded with hidden electrodes that slide deep into your ear canal. These devices are designed to measure electrical brain activity through EEG, along with muscle movements, eye movements, heart rate, and far more biosignals than anybody expected. Not bulky lac equipment on your scalp. These sensors sit quietly inside an outer ear for superior accuracy with almost zero visible hardware and no annoying movement. The patent openly admits this setup delivers cleaner, more reliable brainwave data than ever before. So while you're listening to music, take calls, or scroll in silence, your AirPods are secretly mapping your brain activity. So they're being like the CIA criminals and the Space Force criminals, but this is a private company that they're going to harvest that data and use it for their profit. Every thought pattern, stress spike, focus level, emotional shift, and subconscious reaction. They're going to market it as helpful features like seizure alerts or advanced sleep tracking. But this technology opens the door to total neurosurveillance on a global scale by a private company. So stay away from these, number one. And also, like the Lighthouse has told me, number one, they're frying your brain constantly. Number two, they can be used to broadcast subliminal messages to you without you knowing it. So since you already have neurosurveillance that you don't want, I say stay away from these, because that's not necessarily what all of those of us that have been in this fight would want. Anyways, now I'm going to go for some housekeeping. I know there's a lot more news, but I just wanted to cover these because I believe that the exposure of the surveillance everywhere, it's only backfiring against the criminals, because now normies are upset. And those are the people we needed to reach. Okay. So now the Privacy Act request and appeal forms in the Targeted Justice website, targetedjustice.com/privacy act, have been updated to include the language about ELSUR, which is electronic surveillance, and Sentinel Gold files, as well as reference to the Carter Page. If you gave the 5702 FISA warrants to him, you have to give them to me, just like the Christine Crowder files on her nomination to the terrorist screening database. It's all out in the open. They cannot say, oh, I'm going to only look in the central record system, because we already last week, if you didn't watch the Gavel, watch it. We already discovered that that only comprises 35% of the FBI records. So for them to continue hiding their malfeasance is a crime. So send yours today. It is of utmost importance. If they denied it, saying, oh, we looked in the central record system and there's nothing there, guess what? The appeal form, look it up in the Targeted Justice website, or you can hire Jill TJ at proton.me, and she can help you from a professional editors. Now, I want to give a shout out to our digital warrior, Jim. He has been reminding everyone on X about the 5-minute intention. Please follow him on X. I'm going to write you here his handle so you can, and turn on the notifications for him so that you get notified when the intention time is going to start exactly at noon. And then you dedicate those 5 minutes. The targeting program is over. I am free now. It has been scientifically proven that when you have global intent focused on a goal, it does move mountains. Let's move mountains. And Jim is helping us. So please follow him, because he's an amazing volunteer, and this is a great weapon for us to fight peacefully what they do to us. Anyways, I wanted to also give a shout out. Many people have asked me, how do I manage? And I have to, excuse me for those of you that have heard me before, but I have to give a shout out to Target Source LLC. This little thing, which is a zapper, which gives, I shock myself. It's only 15 volts. It's no big deal. But since I have W band, for those of you that have illegal implants placed in you, and like if your body starts twitching, that's the criminals harassing you. Well, what I do is I sap myself, and it's really, it just feels so good because it stops, and the best part is, like, criminals, you don't get to bug me because I have a counter mechanism to shut you down. And then also I use the silent night for sleeping. This is one very precious tool in fighting RNM and in reducing, for those of you that have V2K, substantially reducing the volume. And for those of you that need to concentrate, like I do, I have to write things and I have to concentrate. And you know how these criminals are. So, well, this is my tense unit. And you can get it with little ear. Let me see if you can see them here. You see these earplugs? Obviously, they are with cables. So these earplugs, You either put gel, electricity conducting gel, or make them wet with water, right? Or salt water. It's because salt water is more conducive, more, helps more with the electricity. And just have to make sure that it's a digital one. I mean, an analog one, not a digital one, because the digital ones, the criminals break them in a near second. Anyways, this really helps me mood wise and also to concentrate. So if you have the kind of work like I have, that I have to read and research and really focus, I really urge you to get one of these, but get them off the, don't order them online. Try to go to a medical supply store and get them there. It really makes a huge difference. And I share, I shield every night my head, and you can look at the shielding in targetedjustice.com/shielding. You need to protect your head and your heart, because I see so many of these persons that don't know that they're targeted, and they get these heart attacks. Like Jim Hoft recently got, heart attack. And I'm sure these are people that are targeted because they have been fighting the deep state. So they don't protect their heart with a water bag, a water bottle. And this is so essential that each and every one of you does it every night. Because when you are still, when you are lying down or sitting and you're still for a long amount of time, that's when they can target you really well, because it takes them, in Armando's estimation, 3 minutes to do the pattern, the 3D pattern of you, and target specifically where they want to go. If you're constantly moving everywhere, it's harder for them to target you. So when you're lying down, that's when you're more vulnerable. And I'm going to pass this on to you, even though it's very hard for me to implement it. But the Lighthouse has recommended that if you can limit your sleep to 5 hours, that's all you need. That's all you need to function properly. The more you sleep, the more opportunity you give to the criminals to attack, to target your body organs. So I find that very hard because I love sleeping, but I'm putting it out there. If you can handle with a reduction in sleep hours, you're going to feel better, because you're going to give them less opportunity, unless you're sitting all day and not moving around, because you give less opportunity to them. Anyway, so I just had to give all those shout outs to everyone. And thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting this mission for freedom for everyone. Without you, I would not be able to be here. So I am humbled, I am honored, and I am very, very thankful to all of you. This week, I will be posting additional activism content. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my Meta, do so, because I am going to be continuing posting. We cannot stop this. We are right now at the peak. We cannot stop the activism. These people in Congress need to understand that they have to do the right thing, and they have to honor the Constitution. Okay? And to the criminal oligarchs that continue to try to make my life difficult, I tell them, you should quit while you're ahead, because more is coming your way. Anyways, thank you everybody for being here. I hope to see you next week. Let me see if I hope there's no questions. Let me check in your comments, because I have been focused. I don't know if there's any questions. Please remember, the targetedjustice.com website has suggestions. It's not legal advice. Suggestions for your Privacy Act requests. This is a very important exposure tool. We are seeing now how courts, particularly, for example, to the Cato Institute, how courts are starting to grant these FOIA lawsuits. Those are not privacy. Under the Privacy Act, we have more rights than under the FOIA. And the courts are granting these lawsuits. And I think that, it's a step in the right direction, because when they have not seen a Privacy Act request like the ones that we're going to come knock on the court's door. So, anyways, I'm feeling good. Thank God. Thank to, again, these devices are really helped me a lot. And I just have to be so grateful to Armando and to his genius. I'm not saying I but yeah, it's good. Look, one of the things that I tell people when you get hacked is write to the app people and say you want the IP addresses of the people that hacked your account. That is something that it's recorded forever, and that is something that they are always scared of. Well, I don't see any other questions, but I'm not going to be holding the monthly meeting, because very few people were showing up. And I think that instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an open podcast and take questions from you and tell you about different things. But I'm not going to physically be, because only two people were showing up, and the purpose of the meeting is for people to mingle and to help each other. Yeah, well, listen, Blake, you need to understand that FISA 702 is about electronic surveillance and about gang stalking. The people that do the electromagnetic harassment, they're using cell towers. It's being done by the CIA and the Space Force. Okay. And for some of us, that have W bands, we can be affected by other people's cell phones. But FISA doesn't have to do with the electronic harassment. That comes from other divisions. What does concern us is the PSYOPs, because FISA 702 is what makes it possible for the criminals to know where we're going, where we're staying. Like if you rent an Airbnb, they already have it all set up because you did it online, and that's how they got your information. So when you get there, it's already set up, or and they just make your life a living hell. That's why FISA 702 is so crucial, and that's why each and every one of you has to write to your representative and your two senators insisting that they demand a warrant requirement, because you are a law-abiding American that has been severely affected by the criminal conduct of the rogue FBI. That it has been accepted. It has been documented by the FISA court that they are criminals. I'm not saying it. It's a FISA court saying that they have violated the statute over and over. They are like repeat offenders. They are not redeemable. They cannot be. How do you say when a criminal cannot be? I don't know the word in English, but they cannot be re-educated. Let's put it that way there. Anyway, so please send that email to TI Help Group and put the information in there. Support this initiative that a united and empowered community cannot be defeated. That's what the criminals were so scared of. The criminals were scared that we would unite, and we're achieving that. And they cannot stop that. That's analog. So please don't delay and send your email today. Anyways, thank you all for being here, and I will be seeing you next week, hopefully next week. And I'm still dealing with the hacking. I'm going to be trying some other platforms. But in the meantime, I hope to see you next week, because I will be here. Rain or shine, I'm going to be here next week.